The Giants' first preseason game is in the books as they ended up beating the Detroit Lions. It was a lot of fun, and I just want to say thank you to every single person that joined our watch party. Over 60,000 Giants fans tuned in, the number one place on YouTube yesterday, and we're going to be there all season long. I've got my biggest winners and losers following last night's game. Look, it's the preseason. Nobody's really a loser, but we do got to talk about some players that I think need to improve to help this team. But first, as the preseason is underway, that means the regular season is right around the corner. And the host of our Vikings channel, Patrick Seatman, former New York Giants now producer, he challenged me and said that we could not get to 1,000 likes on today's video. I want to prove him wrong, and I want to beat the Vikings in week 1. If you want to do the same, smash that like button right now. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by as we highlight the biggest winners and losers following the Giants' win over the Lions in the first preseason game. And let's start right here. The running back position, the trio of Dante Miller, Tyrone Tracy, and Eric Gray, I thought were the biggest storylines coming out of the game last night. Let's start with Tyrone Tracy Jr., the rookie running back that the Giants selected in the 5th round of the draft from this past April. Receiver turned running back in his final 2 years at college. And the talk out of training camp was that the RB2 job was Tyrone Tracy Jr. to lose. And I don't think he lost that job at all. I thought he played really damn well. 5 carries, 26 yards, had a long run of 12 yards. He forced 5 missed tackles and picked up 3 first downs. So the things that I saw in tape in college, they translated to the National Football League. He can make people miss. He can get north and south. He can break tackles, and he is an explosive runner. All of those things were on display last night. Eric Gray was the running back that I was a little bit concerned about coming into the preseason. I didn't think he played or looked all that well last year in the preseason. Really struggled as a pass protector. And if you're going to play in the NFL, especially on third downs as a running back, you got to be able to pick up a pass blitz. We haven't really seen him do that yet, but what we saw him do last night was be able to go 0 to 60 and go get after it. A 48-yard touchdown run for him, a nasty old stanky leg jump cut that Eric Gray had last night, and he put everybody on notice that it is a legit competition for that RB2 job with him, with Tracy and Dante Miller. Gray looked like a different player, and he sounds like a more confident player as well. He said this after the game: I just wanted to put my best foot forward. I just want to be Eric Gray. Just be me. Last year, I kind of made football more than it is. It's just football at the end of the day. Just being me. And we saw the things that he did good in college on display last night. We even saw him got involved in the passing game, and that was something we hadn't really heard a lot about or seen in training camp so far. He had a really nice little wheel route up the left side. Tommy DeVito dropped it in a bucket. Great pitch and catch by both those players. Really impressed. By the way, Eric Gray played almost 100 all-purpose yards. He was the MVP of last night's game. I also really liked what I saw from Dante Miller. 12 carries, 63 yards, a long run of 19 yards. And when he hits that corner, you understand why they call him Turbo Miller. He can turn on the jets, and his top-end speed is something that really nobody else in this running back room has. Even though he is, I would say, a finesse and home run hitting back, he's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to stick his foot in the ground and go pick up those dirty yards. I thought he ran through some arm tackles, and it took a really nice gang tackle of Detroit Lions, or a really solid tackle, to bring him down. I was impressed with all 3 running backs. Gray, Tracy, and Miller. They all looked really good, and it is going to be a competition behind Devin Singletary as to who is going to be that RB2. I'll let you take the seat of Brian Dable right now and decide it. Who's going to be RB2? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. The second biggest winner for me was number 15, our guy, Don Bosco Prep alum, Tommy Cutlets. Tommy DeVito was really good last night. I thought he looked decisive. I thought he looked in control, and he felt comfortable out there. Maybe that was just because Drew Lock got off to such a bad start yesterday, a terrible interception, sitting in the pocket way too long. Whenever Tommy DeVito hit his back foot, ball was out, on time, on target. He finished 8 of 15, and as he started to work with that third-string offensive line and third-string receivers, some of his numbers went by the wayside. Tried to throw a couple of deep fades to Bryce Ford-Wheaton that was unable to connect on, but some throws over the middle to Tyree Jackson. He looked really good, and I thought he just looked like a guy that was fighting for his life out there, because we have now a QB2 battle on our hands, and it's more so to do with the way that DeVito looked compared to the way that Drew Lock looked. Look, there's a reason that Lock is a quarterback too. There's a reason he is a backup at this point. He's going to throw interceptions. He did that. But I was more impressed, and my major takeaway is if DeVito is going to play like that for the rest of the preseason, the Giants are going to have to make a decision. Do we keep him on the roster or do we cut him? And I think we're trending more so to the Giants keeping 3 QBs on the final 53. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball and the training camp standout, the second-year UDFA inside linebacker out of Toledo, Dyontae Johnson, showed everybody why the hype is real. He played in 24 snaps yesterday. He had 4 tackles. He had a sack. He had 2 QB hurries. He was playing sideline to sideline. The athleticism was on display. The instincts were on display. I love the fact that he is a high IQ player. He sees and he attacks. I feel like he diagnoses plays well, and he doesn't have any wasted motion and going to make plays near or at the line of scrimmage. The Giants are actually really deep at that inside linebacker position, and it's going to be a battle between McFadden and Dyontae Johnson the rest of camp and the rest of preseason, and really the rest of the regular season as to who's going to be the guy behind Bobby Okereke. I was impressed with Matthew Adams. I thought the rookie Darius Musau looked good, and Darian Beavers, the training camp darling of 2 years ago, he looked good as well. The Giants are deep at inside linebacker, and it is going to be a bloodbath to try to find out who is going to make this team. From linebacker to cornerback, another rookie that I thought stood out was the third-round pick out of Kentucky, the slot corner, Andru Phillips. This dude is not scared of anything, man. He'll line up in the slot. He'll get down there, and he'll mix it up. He was really physical in joint practices with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we saw the same thing last night. Coming off the edge, at the corner, slot corner spot, on a blitz, making tackles for loss. He looks sticky in coverage, in my opinion, and he is going to be your starting slot corner for this football team. And Joe Shane, round of applause. Anytime you can find a starter in the third round in their rookie year, you get a green check mark for that. And I am anticipating him actually being a good player for the Giants. Not just someone they're going to throw out there and hope that he progresses. Obviously, we want that. But I think we're going to see that he is ready to play in this league early on in week 1 against the Vikings. I honestly thought a lot of the corners looked pretty good. Trey Hawkins looked good. We'll talk about him. Breon Borders struggled a little bit, especially in the tackling department. We didn't see Nick McLeod play. Cordell Flot's actually dealing with an injury at this moment, so maybe that CB2 job is up for grabs. David Long Jr. looked all right, and Trey Herndon, he had a pick. Thing is, he just fumbled it and gave it right back to the Lions. My last major winner, though, staying on defense, is rookie UDFA interior pass rusher Elijah Chatman, the 6 foot, 278 pounds defensive tackle. He has been talked about all training camp long by everyone that's been in attendance. His quickness, his first step, his ability to push the pocket and get after the passer from an interior spot has been a major talking point by everyone there. And he showed you why. He had 1 sack and 5 QB pressures last night, and he is going to add a different element to this team. I think we're past the point of him making the roster. I think he's going to do so, and I can't wait to see a 4-man front of Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Elijah Chatman pin their ears back and get after it on passing situations. The D-line overall, I thought, looked really good. Ben Whitley, our man Ben Whitley, former Minnesota Viking, I thought he looked good coming off the edge. Got flagged for roughing the passer. don't really care about that. He showed you that he could get there and he can cause havoc in the backfield. He had a sack and 2 QB hits. And then even Boogie Basham, he got in the mix and showed you that he could still play. He had a sack and 2 more QB pressures. The interior defensive line has been a major question mark for this team. And it's nice to see the edge guys and the depth guys on the interior look pretty good. Man, I am pumped up for what this team has on the defensive line. That is going to be the heartbeat of this team. We know Burns, Lawrence, Thibodeau, and Ojulari are going to be impact players, but if you can get anything out of a guy like Elijah Chatman or Boogie Basham or Benton Whitley, that can raise the ceiling of that group. Some other New York Giants winners for me, Trey Herndon, spent a little bit of time talking about him, as well as Trey Hawkins III. Both looked good in coverage. Hawkins was actually graded out by Pro Football Focus as one of the better corners for the Giants last year. He was the hype train, hype machine. Every time you turned on Giants Twitter last year during training camp, it was Trey Hawkins season. Would be nice to see if he could progress in year 2 at Old Dominion and be a guy. Herndon had that interception. I'm going to credit that more to the quarterback not seeing him, but he sunk in his zone, got in the spot, made a nice play, but you got to hold the ball and run out of bounds if you're about to fumble it. Good to see him. And overall, outside of one player, I thought the Giants' offensive line looked good. And it was the depth guys that played a lot, and that's important to me because injuries are going to happen. Someone on the Giants' offensive line is going to get hurt, and someone is going to have to step up. Miles, the offensive tackle, he looked really good to me. There was one offensive lineman, though, that I thought struggled. We'll tell you more about that coming up in a second. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. The watch party last night was awesome. I can't wait to do it again in week 2 of the preseason, week 3, and then all 17 games of the New York Giants season. So if you're looking for your one-stop shop on YouTube for all things Big Blue, subscribe to the channel right now. Coming up next, I've got 3 losers coming out of the game. Again, none of these guys are losers. They make millions of dollars. They play in the NFL. But I do have to talk about 3 guys that I thought left some meat on the bone with their performance last night. But first, I got to tell you about our proud sponsor of today's show, Game Time, the #1 ticketing app in the market. Check them out. Open up your app store, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code ChatSports and get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. If you're looking to buy tickets to a Giants game, maybe a concert, a theater event, a baseball game this summer, or you want to catch the Knicks or Nets, do it with Game Time. You get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the events get closer, and my favorite feature of Game Time is you can look at tickets with all-in pricing. That way, if you find 4 tickets for $100, you pay $100 at checkout. You don't get to checkout and then get hit with $200 of hidden fees. Game Time is the only app I use to buy tickets because I believe they look out for their customers and they make sure you get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. So download the app, create an account, use the promo code ChatSports. That's CHATSPORTS. It's at the bottom of your screen, and get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. I got to go to the Home Run Derby because of Game Time. I went to the Grateful Dead concert last year. I caught a couple of Knicks games, and I'm going to do the same this year. You should do it as well. Support the show. Support the sponsor. My biggest preseason week 1 loser is Joshua Ezeudu, and we have him listed on today's show as an offensive guard, because I don't ever want to see him play offensive tackle again. I know the Giants have been working at training camp, trying to make him a tackle. Most recently, they've been working him back at guard. And after being a 3rd-round pick in that 2022 NFL draft, you're entering year 3. You're supposed to be a contributor. And Joe Shane talked about we love the guard tackle flex that he offers. And he's just not a tackle. He had a 63.8 pass blocking grade. He allowed 3 pressures. I counted 2 sacks that he allowed on Drew Lock. Did Lock hold the ball for too long? Maybe we could decide that. But I will say, I thought he looked really good in the run game. In Pro Football Focus, they thought so as well, giving him a 93.1 run block grade. So kind of trying to look at this glass half full, maybe he could slide into the guard position and be someone that could help you in the run department. He is just not a guy that can play tackle and survive on an island in pass blocking situations. Josh Miles, I thought, looked much better than him. And I think he is going to be potentially your swing tackle. But I don't know. I just know that Joshua Ezeudu cannot play tackle anymore. He ended up getting Drew Lock hurt. He was horrible last year. I don't want to be mean to the young man, but it's the National Football League. He needs to be playing the position he's best at to help this team, and that's interior offensive line. Another loser for me was Drew Lock. He did get injured, ended up leaving the game. We got an extended look at Tommy Cutlets. That was a lot of fun, but it was disappointing because he doesn't play well, and Lock is a guy that is better than what he showed. And maybe he's not a preseason guy. Maybe he's not a practice guy. He is someone that has competed in this league at the highest level and played well. What about the 2-minute drive last year against the Philadelphia Eagles? He goes 80 yards to win it on Monday Night Football and drops a dime piece to Jackson Smith and Jigba up the right sideline. We didn't see any of that, though. I felt like he looked not confident out there. He looked timid. He didn't look like a guy that's been in this league before and played for multiple seasons. He hit that back foot, and it was just pitter-patter after pitter-patter. He missed Malik Neighbors on a cover 2 hole shot on the right side. Malik Neighbors was out there for 4 drives, and we didn't throw him the football one time. If you're going to force the ball to somebody, do it to Neighbors, not Isaiah Hodgins in double coverage, where you didn't even see the second guy, and he wasn't even open if it was single coverage. Lock really struggled, and I think his performance last night, along with the injury, which he said is not that serious, is slowly opening up the door for Tommy DeVito to walk through and make it a quarterback competition. So my question to you is this. If you had to choose a QB2 today, who would it be? Cutlets or Lock? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I don't love calling Isaiah McKenzie a loser because I didn't think he did anything too bad to deserve this. But if you are going to try to make this team as the 6th or 7th wide receiver, you have to have special teams capability. You have to wear multiple hats. And the fastest way and the easiest way for McKenzie to make this team is by a punt returner and kick returner job. And you can't drop punts. This team is not good enough to turn the ball over in special teams. They did not do that last night, but McKenzie did drop a punt. He was able to pick it back up and establish possession, and the Giants went on to bring the offense out there. It was raining, whatever excuse you want to make for him, but I promise you, if you asked Isaiah McKenzie, he would say, I am disappointed that I dropped that punt, because he knows it's him versus Gunnar Olszewski to be the return specialist for this team. Giants are going to keep 6 or 7 receivers. Neighbors, Slayton, Hyatt, and Robinson are all locks to make this team, which means there's 2 or 3 other spots open. Is it Isaiah Hodgins, Allen Robinson, Miles Boykin, another guy I probably should have mentioned. He could have been a winner for last night's performance, actually forced a fumble as a punt coverage gunner. I thought he looked good there. People love Bryce Ford-Wheaton as a gunner. But is it McKenzie or Gunnar Olszewski that's going to make this team as a special teams specialist? I don't think McKenzie did himself any favors by dropping that punt. Gunnar caught all of them, didn't make too much happen after the catch. But after all the fumbled punts I've seen over the past couple of years, from Eric Gray, Adoree Jackson, Richie James, and Sterling Shepard, all I want my punt returner to do is catch the football so my offense could come out on the field. Appreciate everybody for watching. I want to end with one more question. Who was your biggest winner and your biggest loser from last night? I want to hear from you in the chat. And if you haven't yet, give me a follow over on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG at @MarshallGreen_. Let's continue the conversation over there, and let's go Big Blue.